Planet Earth's resources are finite. Though the Industrial Revolution was indeed the greatest advance ever known in the economy and the development of a large part of humanity, the energy needs of the manufacturing process also entailed an increasing use of mineral and fossil fuels, such as coal, petrol, and natural gas. The mistaken belief that these non-renewable sources of energy were to be found in almost limitless supply under the planet's surface brought about an overexploitation and reliance which has led to numerous negative repercussions on the environment. Perhaps the most important of these is climate change brought about by excessive greenhouse gas emissions. On top of all this, we here in Europe depend completely on resources from areas of geopolitical conflict in different parts of the world. Faced with finite energy, with its great capacity for producing pollution, we need clean and sustainable alternatives. An obvious choice with huge potential is locally produced biomass energy. Biomass is a form of renewable energy. It is present in the natural cycle of life in our planet, and its extraction is increasingly simple, yet technologically advanced, clean and economical. From this process, energy in the form of biofuels, heat or electricity can be generated. Biomass is obtained from a wide variety of materials: animal waste, residues from the farming and forestry industries, solid urban waste, and finally, dedicated energy crops. We need to replace this shortfall with renewable energy, and biomass is crucial as, unlike other technologies, it can be made available on demand. It's really important that this is done sustainably. Locally grown energy crops planted in short rotation plantations, SRP, are seen as one of the key ways to meeting our future energy needs, as it will be increasingly necessary to rely on greater amounts of biomass that can feasibly be converted to energy. They needn't compete with agricultural land used for food crops, as they can be planted on unused soils. So these energy crops are compatible with agricultural land used for food crops. Species such as willow, poplar, black locust, robinia, eucalyptus are already being successfully used for biomass production in countries such as Sweden, Germany, the United Kingdom, Poland, Spain, Italy, Ireland, France, and Belgium, where the specific adaptation of these species to particular climatic conditions is producing high yields at increasingly lower costs. SRP can offer a wide range of social, economical, and environmental benefits, retaining revenue in the local economy, reducing fuel costs and creating rural jobs in all stages of the production and use of the fuel. Provide numerous ecosystem services by hosting beneficial insects, being an effective means of reducing soil erosion, a cheap method of flood defense, and an efficient biofilter of polluted water. Improves the quality of the soil by increasing the quantity of organic material in the soil, and captures CO2 that stays in the soil through leaves decomposition, and mitigates the effects of wind, rain, and flooding. The owners of land with unused soils can plant species such as eucalyptus, willow, and poplar. These require fewer nutrients in order to develop, while at the same time helping to maintain the farms. The local production of biomass avoids the environmental and economic costs of transport for its conversion. It also creates employment in the process of creating and distributing the energy produced.
SRPs are going to have a long-term benefit, but in the short term, a farmer planting energy crops won't have any income for 3 or 4 years. He has to wait for the crop to grow before it can be sold. Therefore, you need some sort of incentive to cover this period. But at the same time, the need to bear into mind that in the longer term, these energy crops are keeping money in the local economy. The farmer and local people are being paid for energy supply rather than buying energy from anywhere in the world. And also, of course, the benefit of carbon reduction, because the energy crops are carbon neutral. Therefore, it's not really a subsidy. I would count it as an investment.
So why have we not yet developed this way of obtaining biomass? There are a whole range of reasons for this. The main one is that its advantages are not widely known. That's why we need to become fully aware of the benefits to society of introducing these crop forms. In rural areas, creation of employment, both in growing the crops and in transforming them. In urban settings, a drop in pollution levels and an improvement in air quality. In both environments, the chance to create wealth and obtain resources for the good functioning of industry, avoiding emigration and keeping the population stable. This type of crop also brings significant financial advantages, not only as regards to generation of economical activity and thus taxes, but also in the reduction of fuel imports, or in our becoming more competitive in this business sector in the medium to long term. Biomass combustion technology is very efficient, and as a result, there are low emissions of particulates and oxides of nitrogen, thus improving the emissions of coal boilers and being able to compare biomass boiler emissions to gas boiler emissions. We should bear in mind as well that during its time in the soil, biomass actually absorbs the CO2 emissions that it may later produce when being used. The fact that the product comes from high-quality short rotation plantations means significant saving for consumers, while local production avoids deforestation and soil degradation. Some species can be employed on land that isn't very productive for agri-food use, and so it is regarded as a low-carbon renewable fuel. SRPs have been slow to catch on, though as a result of the industry not always getting the right policies and support schemes. It's really important that the benefits of SRPs are understood by policymakers so that the industry can develop and can play its part in meeting our future energy and environmental goals. Each delay counts. Every day lost counts. So it is that support from public administration that plays a decisive role. Backing these initiatives will undoubtedly pay off in terms of local wealth creation and ecosystem services.
The main obstacles for SRPs are policy development. A lot relates to supply chain, the lack of an in-market for many growers, education, promotion, issues like that. It's important these issues are resolved and we overcome these obstacles in order to grow the sector.
A legislation that supports local biomass production, along with information campaigns coordinated from the public sector, will allow the development of a cycle of production and consumption of local energy. All this can be achieved at a local level, with a host of advantages for the administration, as well as for farmers, industry and the general public. In other words, for society as a whole.